God.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, we are gathered here today.
We're live. We're live.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
We're waiting for the little circle thing.
Circle
It's
things.
just like.
Dang you, Zuckerberg.
There we go.
Of course, as soon as you say "dang Zuckerberg," it works.
Of course it does.
It's like, oh, I heard my name. God mode activated.
Oh,
Yeah.
926 for diesel at Burns Creek Fuel
Yep.
Stop.
So
All right.
I'm Michael.
I'm Jacob.
This is What the Fuck Podcast.
That's why I
This is
was trying to
Kayla
make sure.
Ball, running for county clerk here in Nye County.
6 something.
Part of our continuing series on candidates.
Yeah. Dude, I just realized when I looked over, you have a full-on teacup belt buckle.
Yep, I do.
Why?
Well, I rodeo, so a little
Oh,
bit
you
about
rodeo?
me. Yep.
That makes
Okay,
sense.
Yeah, so my whole
you have
background's
cup,
rodeo.
She can hog.
That is
Fair
true.
enough.
So
Fair enough.
I'm
be a
not
gentleman.
just a barrel racer, so I do rope, so you better take off pretty fast.
I'm old and slow. All right. So county clerk. What does the clerk do?
That's so funny because this is literally the number one question I get asked in the public is what the clerk does. And that's one of my platforms that's a huge concern is the fact that most of the county doesn't even know what the clerk's position entails.
Mm-hmm.
So what the clerk does, for the most part, what people know the most is that it's handling elections.
Okay.
So it's your job to ensure election integrity,
Got
update
it.
your voter rolls,
Okay.
and follow election law. So, but there's more to the position than just that. So you have to know how to manage your department, run a budget, policies and procedures for your staff, and provide public service. So that's what's missing in the clerk's office right now.
Okay.
And that's
crap.
Wow.
what I
That explains
come
a
in.
lot.
It
Yes.
does.
It's
Yes.
because it sounds like the clerk is telling the BOCC, like, no, we don't have it in the budget. Stop spending on the fairgrounds. Okay? We hit this. Okay? We're at this mark. You need to get more taxes so that way you can do these other things. Until then, like, no.
Yeah, we're well familiar with how county politics work. Both of us work in the public administrator's office.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yes. So then you're familiar. Well, I've been here 31 years in Nye
Okay.
County. I've worked at the DA's office for 14 years. now.
Awesome.
So I'm familiar with county politics as well.
Wow.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm looking to transition over into the clerk's position because I think that I have the education and experience required to bring that staff up to, mainstream and modernize it.
Okay.
So that's what I want to do with the department. I think we're missing opportunities for public service and to generate revenue in the department.
Okay.
The department is your county clerk. They're missing a notary. They don't have a notary public. That's one of the services that
We
they
have a
should be
notary.
having.
Yeah, but
And
it's also an NRS that
Yes.
it's a requirement
Yes.
for that.
they do not. So when they were over at the courthouse
Uh-huh.
and I worked at the DA's office, I was the only notary in the entire building.
Oh, wow.
So they would call me over to have to notarize documents for both justice court and the clerk's office.
Heck, we've got a notary in the PA's office.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo.
So, Kayla,
Yes.
are you saying that the recorder doesn't have a notary?
No, the clerk's office, the Nye County clerk's office does not have a notary.
Understood, but shouldn't the recorder have one?
I would think so, yeah, but I'm not familiar with that
They're a
department. So
different
it's a separate department. Yep. And then also, if you look at any other clerk's office in all of Nevada, they accept passport applications, which is another way to generate revenue.
Right, yeah.
That's not something that the current clerk's office does.
Which is really weird because well, kind of, because I only see passports from other countries coming
Yeah.
into here into Pahrump. The vast majority of people who are coming to Pahrump are
Nobody
like,
leaves.
Yeah.
Sure, you never leave.
two may enter, none may leave. You're just like, all right, we're sticking to Pahrump here.
Yeah. So my whole goal for running for this position is to modernize the department, get revenue back in it, and manage the staff.
Okay, so modernize. What are we talking here? What's missing now that could be done?
So
Still
the
using Stone
website's
tablet.
not updated.
Okay.
So an updated website would be somewhere where that I would start.
Okay.
The website's really difficult to read. It's not user friendly and
What
it's not
was that?
appealing to the eye. So you have to bring in ideas and experiences to be able to look at that and know that that's something that's missing.
Okay.
Also a social media page directly
Okay.
for the Nye County clerk
All right.
because Nye County is not just Pahrump. We have
Right.
all
The
northern Nye
whole
County,
county.
and that's what people seem to miss. So what goes out is town of Pahrump notifications, but that's not appealing to Round Mountain, Tonopah, Beatty, or anyone.
Yeah, it's kind of off-putting because
Yeah.
you're not representing the entirety of Nye County, and you're in a Nye County position.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then when you look at things, you need to, because with our county issues with getting money to our departments,
Uh-huh.
they only have 3 staff members in Pahrump and 2 staff members in Tonopah. So what you have to do is look at things and how to work smarter, not
Right.
harder.
Got it.
So I have a really good eye for doing that with what I've done at the DA's office over the years.
All
I
right.
worked every single support staff position in that department and even was an office administrator when our current administrator was out on leave.
All right.
Wow.
So I have the capabilities of coming in and basically being able to reorganize and restructure the department so that it is working more efficiently and providing more public service.
Sounds good. Yeah, one of the things that I noted on your social media presence is you're talking education.
Yes.
What is your goal there? What
So
are we talking about?
one of my main platforms is to get the next generation of voters more involved in voting and the election process
Uh-huh.
and the importance of our local government. Because
Okay.
when you're talking about kids that are getting ready to graduate, I don't think they even understand what our county commissioners do and how it affects us in this county.
Okay.
So that's super important. And when you look at the election results, voter participation drops 20% when there's not a presidential candidate on the
Right.
ballot, which is really concerning because this is our local government that makes directly impacts us in Nye County.
Uh-huh.
So you would think our voter participation would be up higher for elections that don't have a presidential candidate. And I think that's because people don't understand how our county commissioners affect every single department in the county
Okay.
and how our DAs, our justice court, justices of the peace and everything like that, we need to educate people out there so that they know that they need to vote and the importance of voting because nothing's going to change if you continue to vote in the same people that have made promises that they have not kept.
Oh, I like her, Jacob. I like her.
I am not a
She
career
came in,
politician.
she was like running for clerk, promoting voting, promoting education about voting. And I'm like, dude, she keeps on walking up the stairs. And I'm like, dude, you're up. Like,
Yeah, this is great.
we can't see. No, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, you even at Harvard. No, it's just the factor of you're coming on here. You're not just, you are running for county clerk,
Mhm.
but you're also pushing more than just that, where you're wanting people to get educated about the vastness of the local government.
Yeah, the most important part of it. I've been out campaigning, and the most important question is, what does the clerk's office even do? How do I register to vote? Where do I even go? I'm like, this is basic knowledge that
Yeah,
should be out there in the
that should be
public.
easy.
This should be the least amount of our concerns being the Nye County clerk.
driver's license
So-
in quite some time.
That's what I want to do is be able to
Right.
provide that information. There's a lot of misinformation out there
Oh,
of what
absolutely.
the clerk is entitled to do and the power that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So when all these promises are being made of what's going to change, I'm going to save the world. I'm like, you're just the clerk of Nye County. Yes, it's an important position, but voters need to understand that promises are being made that can't be kept.
That's understandable, and we see that in a lot of offices,
Yeah.
across the board, where I'm going to do this. Well, that's not in your purview.
And that's what you see in a lot of offices too, is like I've had, my opponents are saying that I've never ran an election or I've never done this or that. But look how many people that we have that are more than qualified in the positions that they are right now that don't do their jobs.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
And-
when I'm looked at as someone that's just coming from the DA's office with a legal background, there's nothing that I haven't accomplished in my career that I've set my mind to, and this isn't something that I'm going to fail at. I know that for sure.
I get it. And correct me if I'm wrong. Having worked as an election, what was I?
You were.
Was I a judge or was I a?
You were a
freaking-
poll worker at one point.
Poll worker, yeah.
Yeah, I
Amy
could
was the
definitely
judge. I
see
was
him
the
as a
poll
stripper.
worker. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Oh, you were the inspector. I was the judge. That's right. Because I did that in Northern California when I was there.
Yeah.
There's more to the whole voting process than just drop it in the slot.
Well, that's what people don't understand too, is it doesn't matter because the election process is changing every time that we go to an election.
Mm-hmm.
So what we saw at the last election is different than what we're going to see at this election, is what we're going to see different, a couple years from now.
Exactly.
It is constantly being changed. And if you don't educate voters and be transparent on the election process, what systems that we're using, the machines and how it's being processed, they're not going to feel comfortable with the election process. And
Right.
that's
They're
one
not
thing
going to
too,
trust it.
is restoring faith back into the process. And I
Very
know
good.
that's hard after 2020 and everything that we went through.
Yeah.
But I think if you put a face to the name of who your county clerk is and that you're open and transparent and available to the public, that's how you get people to participate back into voting.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's one of those things where right now it's one, like you said, voting goes down
Mhm.
on presidential years, and it's like, no. And I always tell this when people sit there and they're like, I didn't vote for that person, and I'm like, okay, do you know your local government? Because that makes a huge impact
Yeah.
on your taxes,
On
on your
day-to-day.
property taxes, on your fire response.
Oh. What fire?
on your
department?
yeah, exactly. I'm not going to go too deep into that.
Yeah,
but
no, we don't want to attach that to her name.
that's going to be later on.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Ah.
so disappointing because in the primary, we only had in 2022 about 7,000 voters vote.
Mhm.
And that's what people don't understand. The primaries, you have to get out and vote in those because it knocks half of us off the board.
Right.
So
And
some positions are already decided at the primary. So
Right.
if you're waiting till November to vote, you're going to miss out voting on positions that you wanted to vote on, but you're going to go to the general election and be like, hey, where'd that go? Oh, there's
It's
only one
not
person
there.
I get to pick
Yeah.
now because you didn't participate in the primary.
Exactly,
It knocked
yeah.
half of us off.
Ye-
So you
yeah.
have to vote in the primary because if there's all Republicans or vice versa, there you go. That's all you
Mhm.
get in the general.
Exactly. That's all you have.
And people don't know that. I'm like, this is
Congrats, you
basic.
didn't vote
This
before,
is
so
basic
now you get no
knowledge
vote
that people
now.
need to know. Like, and then so when it comes to getting the next generation of voters involved, is going to the schools and having mock elections, trying to get them out there. So when I came up into when I started the DA's office, I started through the Nye Communities Coalition Youth Works
Okay.
program as a volunteer.
Very nice.
Why can't we coordinate that with working into the clerk's office or the Nevada Young Republicans to volunteer to offer extra credit for these teachers?
Mhm.
It's just communication with the school districts and the other community organizations so that we can get kids more involved.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
And I'm
We always talk about kids getting more involved into things and having opportunities to do things. And this sounds like it's a fast track way
Yeah.
to a job,
yeah,
potentially directly
that's how I
out.
got hired
Yeah.
because I had the experience, because I came in as a volunteer and as soon as the position opened, I was hired.
Makes sense.
So
to
that's
me.
how I
You're like,
started.
check, here you go.
You're
Exactly.
just come
You're,
right
you're
in.
already here.
Yeah.
So.
And look at me now, 14 years later,
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, you can turn that V into a hired.
Yeah.
So you were volunteering. Now you're getting paid for it.
Perfect.
So
So yeah, no, and I think community presence is a huge asset. I've done a lot of research and contacting other clerks throughout
Mhm.
Nevada.
Okay.
And I asked them, how are you getting your voter participation numbers? And they said literally community involvement for voters to be able to put a face to a name and know who their county clerk is. And I've been here 31 years. I've been involved in the community, mostly into the rodeo industry.
Right.
And I've
And that's where I know your face from because I
yeah.
attend the rodeo on a routine basis. So.
So campaigning, I've been involved in a lot of more fundraisers and it's been a new passion of mine and I think it's great. And it makes me wonder, why aren't our county commissioners out here fundraising? Why aren't we doing more for our community if you're in an elected position? So it's something that I will continue to do if I'm elected as Nye County Clerk.
I love it. I love it. So one of the things that cropped up during Mark Comp and during his time there was the paper count.
Yes.
Where do you stand there?
I do not support hand counting. It has been tested numerous times, and the amount of human error and the time that it takes. This is the thing with hand counting, the people that I've talked to. You think about it's like counting money, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a ballot with however many different candidates on it.
Uh-huh.
So you have to go to this candidate, tabulate it, this candidate, tabulate it, this candidate, tabulate it. Douglas County told me that it took about 4 hours to count 25 ballots.
Oh wow.
And this is the thing, is having transparency with the
Counts
public
one
and explaining why this does not work,
Mhm.
I think would put that into people's mind. You have 3 employees that work at the clerk's office right
Right.
now and 2 in Tonopah. Everybody else that is involved in elections is volunteered
Mhm.
or hired. You cannot rely on volunteers to come in and run your election. So
No.
you're relying on everybody else to come in and count that without human error. And the fact that if you have 80 volunteers that are trained, 60 might show up,
Mhm.
then down to 20 and to 40. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
it's
sooner
just
or later,
not
I'm just like,
possible for
no,
doing
good.
it. You have to have the numbers in by a certain amount of time, and with potentially 30 to 50,000 people voting,
Mhm.
right now I don't see how they could have the staff to do it.
And being a judge up in it was in Yolo County was where I was at.
Hmm.
Was it Placer? That's right, Placer. A poll worker in Yolo, but Placer. The Scantron machines work great.
Yeah, and they've tested that. They've hand counted and then versed them against the scan machines, and it was accurate.
Right.
So I think, like I said, I understand the public is concerned about the count and the voting process, but
Mhm.
being open, giving the information out there and being transparent and allowing them to come in and see the process or volunteer will give them more reassurance of how it's accurate or not. But no, I'm not going to make promises I can't keep. I'm not going to sell my soul to win a position. I'm not a career politician. I'm not here to tell people what they want to hear. I don't think that hand counting is the answer.
Awesome.
Wow.
As the most put together candidate we have talked to.
What's the day to day?
Were you guys ready for me?
Because I've heard a lot about the voter elections
Uh-huh.
and things of that nature, but What's the day-to-day
So-
for clerks?
It's paperwork, marriage licenses, notary bonds,
Yeah, because we need
fictitious
people to
firm names.
properly get marriage certificates. It's-
Exactly.
there's
So
so
it's
many.
paperwork coming in, and then throughout the year you have people registering to vote. You have to make
Mhm.
sure that that stuff's input in the system, updating your voter rolls, and then getting ready for the election, making sure that everything is continuously up to date and organized.
So it's a true year-round job.
Yes. And then with your day-to-day operations that come and go and flow and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, because that's the big thing that you've talked about a lot about voter election.
mhm.
At that point in time, I know that now all of our viewers are going voter election, vote. Okay, cool. She's
Yes.
the person that in the military we call that our voting rep.
Mhm.
Okay, they help you out with all your state elections, your
Yeah.
government elections, even some of the local elections, as long as you're registered in that county. And then it's like, but, here's the day to day.
Yep.
If you're looking for a marriage license, if you're looking for this, those are the things that are really kind of important,
Yes.
especially for this town, because believe it or not, people do get married here. Okay, and you want to make sure it's not the first cousins. So
Or divorced.
or divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Filed.
that's another big one.
But I know with our office, we interface quite a bit with the clerk because we're the back end of our office files a ton of paperwork with the clerk as far as estates
Yeah.
and deeds and wills and all that kind of stuff that has to go through the clerk's office, even from our office. That it's a daily run for Sandy, our office angel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they also are the clerk of many different boards, so you have to take notes at those meetings and have the summaries. And another one of my platforms is making sure that those BOCC summaries are accurate and done timely. Because if you look at them in the way that they are summarized, they are not verbatim and easy to read for the public. So they're more like manipulated and summarized in a way by the staff who's taking them, and that could be a huge problem later on.
Gotcha. Makes good sense. So
She's answered my question. So at that point in time,
hang on, we got a half a minute of time to go. I always like to hit the human side. Three-legged dog. See it in
Yes.
your picture. Tell me
I
about
know.
dog.
I have two three-legged dogs. Okay, this start. I know. I'm sorry.
Watermelon,
Bear
Jacob.
with me.
Watermelon.
There's a point to this. So
she doesn't have one two-legged dog at that point
I
in
used to
time.
laugh because when people asked me why, I said I cut their legs off so they'd fit in, but
Fair enough.
that didn't go over very easily. So it's just a
Do you
joke.
have
I
prosthetic?
have. No, I don't have a prosthetic.
No, I thought she legit she had a prosthetic, so I was like, dude, that's freaking dope.
So my favorite
Like,
dog lost her leg. She got trampled by horses, and so we had to amputate the leg.
Okay.
And after that, everybody that had a dog that was three-legged and needed rescued, I was the girl to call. So I've had like 4 three-legged
Fair
dogs.
enough.
I've dealt with a three-legged dog before.
Yeah, they're
You
great.
got this.
And they always say that God gave them one extra. So
Yeah.
when people are like, "Oh, that's so sad." No, they get down. I mean,
Yeah.
the one that I have now, he came from the shelter. He's a Great Pyrenees.
Oh, great.
And I have cattle and horses and stuff like that. And he will chase cattle like he's got 4 legs. He
Mhm.
does not care.
We have a
He will
Pyrenees
still
game
work
cross,
cattle.
so
Yeah, so no, I love them. But yeah, more personal about me. I rodeo. I own a small business out here. I'm a sheet metal fabricator.
oh,
know how to
hang,
weld,
hang on,
do
need a
that.
card. Need a
Yeah.
card.
So I'm also a businesswoman. I'm a full-time student. I'm going back to UNLV for my
Oh, nice.
bachelor's degree.
Very nice.
Yeah, so
In
that's
what?
criminal justice.
Very
I
nice.
feel like that's a way for me to close the book being in the DA's office
Gotcha.
for 14 years.
Makes
People
good
ask me, like,
sense.
why don't you just stay there and go to law school? I'm like, I have no desire to be a lawyer. None.
No, she qualified to be the judge, though.
I
Actually
have
have
had
a law
people
degree.
suggest that I should run for judge, but I've not had an interest in doing that.
Well,
But hey, maybe I'll run for governor one day.
There you go. I'd support you.
I'm the governor.
Yeah. So this is the next step in my journey for what I want to do later on in my future.
Very nice.
So I'm young and capable of learning a new career, and that's what I want to do.
Awesome. Kayla, we appreciate having you on the
Thank you.
show.
Thanks.
It's
Awesome.
been
Thanks,
the
guys.
best interview we have done with a candidate so far.
Once
Make sure-
again, your
Kayla Ball, I'm running for 9 County Clerk. I want your vote.
All right. I'm Michael.
Thanks for tuning in, fuckers.
Yay.
Yes.
That was quick and painless.
If